It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare.
Total moron, con man, Donald Trump. So, if you lose to a buffoon like Donald Trump twice, what does that make you?
It's no longer news that Trump's re-election as U.S. president has seriously rattled every corner and industry of America. But the most violent tremors seem to be within the woke community, where many, who always hated the orange-haired troublemaker, are now having to deal with reality, a reality they would rather deny. Top of this list is political commentator Cenk Uygur, a man who had a literal meltdown on live TV after Trump's win.
Bunch of losers, corporate Democrats. I hate them. They've cost us election after election. They're corrupt. And they lost, it looks like, to a syphilitic clown, total moron, con man, Donald Trump. So, if you lose to a buffoon like Donald Trump twice, what does that make you?
Calling the new president a buffoon isn't very smart. Stunts like these could have gone well before the election, not now. I mean, the crowd probably knew better, which is why they booed instantly. No one wants to get on Trump's bad side now, at least. But then, that's what happens when you're woke. You just don't get the memo and keep whiling away in fantasies. Another woke ambassador who doesn't seem too pleased with Trump's re-election is John Meacham. Meacham has referred to Trump as a man unfit to be president. As far as Meacham is concerned, Trump is a nasty dictator who threatened to execute people, terminate the Constitution, and send immigrants packing by any violent means necessary. Meacham's anti-Trump character came in full swing moments after the elections began, as he recounted some of Trump's most savage moments, telling it on live TV.
A man who has said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview. A man who said he was going to be a dictator from day one. A man who said he was going to terminate the Constitution.
However, none of that could stop the ex-president from being triumphant. And now, it's just killing Meacham.
Well, this is the age of Trump. And it's a little like Arthur Schlesinger wrote about the age of Roosevelt and the age of Jackson. And it's unquestionable that he is the dominant political force of the last decade. And what I would say to the 49% or so of folks who woke up thinking that this is a dark day, that this is now a test.
You can almost see the tears in the eyes of Meacham. Trump's win is eating him up inside. But it isn't just Meacham. The feeling is mutual for most influential members of the woke community. Like Jimmy Kimmel, the TV show host and longtime antagonist of Donald Trump, never thought this day would come. And now, he's so devastated he feels like running away.
Jimmy, what are you doing?
I'm packing.
Packing? Are you going on vacation?
No, I'm not going on vacation. I'm leaving the country.
Why are you leaving the country?
I can't stay for another 4 years of this. Who knows what he's gonna do?
Who? Donald Trump?
Yes, Donald Trump. You've heard him. He said he has a list of enemies. You think I'm not on that list?
For the record, here's a recap of some of the damage Jimmy did to the incoming president. By the way, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's enough reason for Jimmy to run for his life.
It was a big afternoon in New York, and for the United States of America, we have a verdict in the case of the people versus DJ. Donald John Trump is guilty of 34 felony charges. After 7 long weeks, the courtroom is empty and Donald Trump's diaper is full.
And now, here's Jimmy on his show after the election results. A literal meltdown.
It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for...
It's just too bad that most of the highly influential people who claim to be woke couldn't see the high potential Trump had to emerge as the winner of the polls. Only a few anti-woke great minds like Elon Musk were able to see Trump winning the election and quickly align with him. Elon, like the genius he is, went against woke media and endorsed Trump. Thanks to that, his net worth skyrocketed to over $300 billion after Trump's win. But let's focus on the losers for now.
How would you feel if Donald Trump did win tonight?
I think I'd go home crying. I think it'd be very, very tough. I think it's the number one thing on voters' minds historically, or not historically, but right now, is the state of democracy in the United States. And I think that's what's on our mind right now, too.
Would you be crying too?
I would certainly be devastated. I could not really stand the 4 years of the Trump presidency personally, and I don't want a repeat of that.
Just for the record, these guys are currently in tears, as with lots of other folks who were part of Kamala Harris's gang. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris did manage to put up a bold face and wear a smile after Trump's victory, though we all know how she truly felt inside, like the ground would open and swallow her up. The fact of the matter is that no one could have predicted Trump's win. The elites, the media, and even the people of America all seem to rile in favor of Biden and Kamala Harris. And frankly, after being labeled a convicted felon, the odds seemed stacked against Trump. But now, the tables have turned, and even the judge who once oversaw Trump's hush-money criminal trial is now humbled.
The Manhattan judge who oversaw Donald Trump's criminal hush-money trial is gearing up to announce next week if the president-elect's historic felony conviction will stand. Judge Juan Merchan has already delayed sentencing by over 4 months to fall after the election. Now, with Trump's sweeping victory, the decision on whether to toss a conviction is in his hands. According to CNN's Paula Reed, Trump's legal team is expected to argue that sentencing should be canceled altogether. They'll claim that, as president-elect, Trump is entitled to constitutional protections similar to a sitting president, shielding him from state prosecutors.
But no one got humbled after the elections like the so-called Democrats, who silently began packing their bags, unable to bear the shame.
I'm here in Washington at a watch party. There's lots of Democrats here, and I have to say a lot of them are starting to go home, and there's a lot of sad faces downstairs. I'm with one of those voters now. How do you feel about the election results so far?
Honestly, I'm kind of bored. This is America, so oh my gosh.
In the light of overwhelming defeat, lots of woke voters are still denying that Trump won fair and square. Some argue that Harris lost because she's a black woman. And then there are those who claim Trump won because he's a rich white dude with powerful supporters like Elon Musk. Then again, a lot of woke community folks are well aware of how anti-woke Trump is and are hoping that, by some miracle, Trump won't ascend the throne. I mean, it takes some unique kind of hope to still believe Kamala Harris can still pull off a stunt and take the White House throne instead of Trump. But the truth remains the truth, and Trump is now the #1 citizen of America. The polls have spoken, even though political analysts like Cenk Uygur would rather have the elections canceled and Biden reelected. Here are some of his recent rants.
This election is over. Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States, and he has won re-election. So buckle up, brace for impact. We're going to have 4 years of anarchy and chaos. My prediction, which is not a bold one, is they're going to rob the place blind. All of his donors are going to get everything they wanted. There's going to be almost no checks on him. Last time the establishment checked him, I'm not a big fan of the establishment, but they put some brakes in the car for Donald Trump, and he's a guy who needed brakes. Now there will be no brakes in the car. Steve Bannon's back. All of the ghouls and goblins of the first administration that stayed through all of his corrupt and ridiculous demands are back. None of the people who had any sanity are back. And their first priority is going to be take. Last time Donald Trump drove up the debt by 40%, he added $8.4 trillion to the debt because he doesn't care. He's going to give away a couple more $1 trillion in corporate tax cuts.
Cenk Uygur has not been himself ever since Trump won. Cenk Uygur feels that Harris and her party didn't do enough, which is why they lost. He has repeatedly expressed his contempt and disappointment, and we can only imagine how much household furniture he has destroyed so far in a feat of rage. But Uygur isn't the only one on this boat. Other political analysts who were covering the polls on live TV were also dumbfounded when the results didn't go their way.
I mean, there's a shift right, and then there's a shift to Trump, and shifting to Trumpism. And, you know, I'm looking at a lot of things, especially after David talked about looking at counties and, you know, how Trump is gaining on what he did in 2020. And to me, I'm mystified in some ways, simply because we're talking about a twice impeached, 4 times indicted, convicted on 34 felony counts former president.
All of the name-calling and spitting and shaming didn't stop people from supporting Trump. In fact, the amount of supporters Trump got this time around was a lot more than what he got back when he was president in 2020. A miracle? We can't say. But at least we can say a lot of haters are quite depressed about it, and it's not just Americans alone. Here's how the Mexican president reacted to Trump's win. Tears nearly dropped.
Están pues las noticias de que ganó el presidente Trump, pero de todas maneras nosotros vamos a esperar el día de hoy a que termine en algunos estados de contarse y poder dar ya el comunicado oficial.
All of these meltdowns make you wonder if Trump is really as bad as they say, or if it's all some childish overreacting from the woke community. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Anyways, that's all for this video. Join us next time for another interesting video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more interesting videos like this. See you in the next video.